Now, welcome everyone on this webinar. This is the AdvaMed 2016 MedTech Connect Business Development webinar and tutorial. We're very pleased to have you with us. If I could just remind everyone who has just joined us, please mute your phones. This presentation is being recorded. It will be made available after the webinar, and we just want to make sure that the audio will be very clear. We're also very, very pleased to have such a diverse group of participants today, including a good number of persons from outside of the US. So we will speak as clearly as we can, and if anyone would like clarification on any part of this webinar, you can use the chat feature to request this, or you can view the recording again at any time after the presentation. Those of you who have just joined us, just as a reminder, please mute your line or your computer audio as this presentation is being recorded. My name is Caroline Ruggieri, and as you can see on your screen, we have an agenda today where I will briefly introduce AdvaMed 2016 and MedTech Connect. The purpose really is to discuss the value and impact of MedTech Connect, which is our industry's online platform for business development, partnering, and networking. It's also your comprehensive resource for AdvaMed 2016, the MedTech conference. So after a brief introduction to the conference and MedTech Connect, we'll then head straight into a short demonstration on how to use MedTech Connect. This will be presented by Dave Bukowski of Jujama. This is the company that produces MedTech Connect for AdvaMed. We are then going to hear some very valuable advice from Chris Yoakum, who has over 30 years of experience in strategic partnering and is really an industry pioneer of online partnering platforms. I do want to mention and introduce Ms. Kim Pittenger, who is on the webinar with us today. Kim is a valuable resource to assist with MedTech Connect or other conference questions. All of our email addresses, including Kim's, are going to be listed on the last slide of this presentation, so you can see them there. Just by way of housekeeping, if you have questions during the actual presentation, please type them into the chat feature of the webinar. You can send them directly to Kim. She will read your question out loud for the answer during our Q&A at the very end, or alternatively, you can keep your line muted until the end of the presentation when we will have the Q&A portion. At that point, you may unmute your line to pose your question. So as you can see from this introductory slide, just to summarize AdvaMed 2016, this really is the leading medical technology conference for North America. We've had over 1,000 companies represented at the event in the past, and what we have made AdvaMed, the annual conference, into is really a platform for the industry to gather, to exchange information, showcase new innovations, explore new business opportunities, especially, and pursue additional kind of networking objectives. In 2015, our total individual participation reached slightly over 2,300 individuals. We expect this to increase in 2016, so we do believe we will surpass 2,500 individuals. And over a quarter of the participants are C-level executives. The majority of the participants are also senior level decision makers from MedTech companies. Just very quickly, before I even talk about MedTech Connect, I want to note that there is information about AdvaMed, the association, available online at www.advamed.org. This webpage is also listed on the last slide. And those of you who are on the line with us who come from emerging innovator companies, I'd encourage you to learn more about AdvaMed Excel, which is the division within AdvaMed that's dedicated to the needs of smaller device and diagnostics developers and manufacturers. If you don't already know Patrick Brennan, then I do hope you will have a chance to get to know him via the AdvaMed conference and throughout the year. He was previously with the conference team and has now joined AdvaMed Excel in order to build on the support that AdvaMed gives to emerging companies. So he's really going to be a good resource for those of you coming from the smaller device firms. I'm not going to go through everything on the slide that you're looking at now. This is just background information for you. Just as a quick summary, MedTech Connect is a desktop portal and mobile app. It's designed as a resource to schedule one-on-one meetings. What we have really crafted MedTech Connect to be is a way to help you maximize business development opportunities for companies, investors, startups, and really all other industry stakeholders. If we could see the next slide, please. We've given you some statistics about the usage of the MedTech Connect platform in previous years. This is from 2015, and obviously these numbers are very, very significant and important. I'm not going to read them out loud. There is something that is not shown on this slide that I want to mention to everyone, and that is that the numbers you're seeing on the slide represent an enormous jump in the use of our partnering platform from 2014 over to 2015. The 2015 numbers are actually 45% higher than in 2014. So that's really a clear illustration of the real impact that MedTech Connect has on our sector. If you could see the next slide. And those of you who have recently joined us, if I could just remind you to mute your lines or your computer audio. We are recording the presentation. So we're going to go ahead and get started. In order to participate and use MedTech Connect, you first must register for AdvaMed 2016. Many of you on this webinar are indeed registered already. Many of you are not. And so I would encourage you to go to the conference webpage, click attendee info, and then proceed from there. So the MedTech Connect users, as I mentioned, need full access registration. The fee structure is tiered. It is listed on the conference site. So again, just go ahead and visit that website and determine the appropriate fee for your full access registration. Once you register, you'll then receive a login and passcode. It's automatically generated. It's sent to you by email within a day or so of registering. And then this is your key to profiling, researching, communicating, and scheduling. So Dave Bukowski is now going to show us precisely how this works.
Thank you, Caroline. So as Caroline mentioned, my name is Dave Bukowski. I'm from Jujima. We provide the networking services for the upcoming AdvaMed meeting. Essentially, for anyone who is not yet registered, it normally takes around 24 hours from time of registration till when you're sent your access codes. You'll be using the desktop portal leading up to the event, and as you'll see, you can enter your access codes here, but we also give you the QR codes to download the Apple or Android apps, or we also provide a mobile website for anyone using an alternative type of phone, either a BlackBerry or Windows. My goal for this presentation is to keep it short and sweet. I'd like to explain some of the more used features in our service, hit on some of the hot topics for you, and then segue over to Chris Yoakum to describe the better practices of using partnering software. So I'm going to log into the system. And essentially, when you first log into our system, you're taken to a page that combines the aspects of today's social media sites with also business partnering. You'll see right off the bat, you have the ability to make posts. Every feature you're going to see on the desktop portal is also available on the mobile app, just as an FYI. Users have the ability to upload photos, videos, or documents. You can also see other posts that individuals are making. You can like those posts, just like a Facebook. You could follow them. So if someone's posting material that you're interested in, you can basically aggregate all that data and have it on your profile page so you can access it later. You can also share it outside the system if it's something that you'd like to share on your LinkedIn profile or your Twitter. Some of the reasons just to be active on the social network portion of the app or the desktop is just brings awareness to you and your cause of why you're going to the event. Also, it can bring attention to your company or any goods or services that you might be promoting or trying to partner with. Other areas of just this main page, just to bring an interest for you, is we do have a repository of all the information that's uploaded. So if you did want to view any of the documents or videos that individuals have uploaded, you can easily click on any of these. You have an ability to see how complete your profile is. We always tell everyone to strive for near 100% completion. It just gives you a better chance of connecting with anyone in general. There's a little pencil icon here if you wanted to see both of your individual and organization profile, or what I suggest first and foremost is clicking on your picture in the upper left. What this does is it takes you to your personal page, or you could view your organization page. Just as a FYI, we take your registration data, we create profiles for you. You and your colleagues, as long as you've registered from the same organization, will all be listed together. Everyone has the ability to update their company information, either profiles, social sites, URLs to link to, or any documents or promotional material you're all able to upload. You'll see it's a quick and easy way. If you wanted to do it right over here, you can add everything. I mentioned that if you like or follow any information throughout the system, it's all going to be collected here. So you'll see some people or posts that I'm following. You'll see that I've aggregated some data by gathering it, and I can easily go right to that PDF if I'd like to, or just updating your information in general. So again, we don't expose anyone's contact information. You're just seeing mine because it's my personal page. We allow you to pull your information from past events that we might have powered that you've attended. You can pull from LinkedIn. If I scroll down the page, you were asked some specific questions in your registration process. Well, there's actually other data sets that we'd like you to fill out. They'll help with your networking and also matchmaking, which we'll get into in a moment. But essentially, if you click on any of these, just like sectors, areas of my interest, I could select them and just simply hit save. That being said, that's going to update your profile. Other things just to make note on this homepage. If anyone has ever sent you a message within the system or the app, you receive an email, you receive a notification, and you also see up on here, similar to Facebook, you'll see the icon lit up where you can easily click on it to view those emails. I think the main part of what people are using the MedTech Connect leading up to the event is definitely sourcing who's going to be at the event, whom they would like to meet with, and arranging those meetings. So what we do is we have an attendees tab here. This is going to allow you to basically source through the entire, let's just say, database of individuals attending. As of right now, there's already over 1,500 people. If you wanted to search by companies, you could just click on the organizations. We default to individuals at first. You can filter by size of medtech company, who's an investor, or who's academic or government, who's service providers. We provide an export list here. We know a lot of people like to sort through a list prior to requesting their meeting, so there's an option. And then you have the detailed search view. So if you wanted to search specifically by a sector, you could do so, an investment stage, investor type, or if you wanted to search by a service provider type, you could check all of those interests and hit search. Now, the way the system works, and we'll just use the first person here, you could view their profile or their partnering profile based on their needs. If you wanted to take any notes on them, you could click on the notes. If they've uploaded any content, you could view it with these tabs. If you'd like to meet with this particular person, you could hit the request a meeting button. The logic and how the meeting requests work is such. First, you're going to pick the day that you're interested in potentially meeting. Based off of that, you can choose either a 15-minute or a 30-minute meeting, depending on what you're looking to do. And the time slots that you will see are now based off of you and this other person's mutual availability. So as of right now, both you and this person are available during these times. The location will be assigned to you. Do not have to worry about where you will be meeting. Once it's confirmed, you're going to be assigned either a partnering table, or if it's with an exhibitor, it might be at their exhibitor booth. The rest works just like an email. So you would put your subject and description in and hit invite. What happens is this person receives that request. They can accept it via the email that is sent to them. They'll receive a notification in the mobile app. They could accept it there, or they could accept it on the desktop platform using the meetings tool on your left-hand side. We'll get to this in one moment as well. Other areas for communications and networking, sending a message. This is your email system. We're not recreating the wheel here by any means. It's subject, message line. We don't expose the contact information. That's the one thing to be sure of. But again, the message will be sent to them via email and the mobile app. Now, one thing new this year, which is pertaining to all of these different data sets, is we're doing matchmaking. So the first time that you are going to log into either the mobile app or the desktop portal, you're going to see this screen here. It's going to ask you to select your areas of interest or your partnering profile. What the system is then going to do is it's going to suggest people that you might want to connect with based on your similar interests. Now, we're matching up based on a 25% match rate. So, if this people's partnering profile matches up with yours on those criteria, we're just simply selecting that you have similar interests and you might want to connect leading up to the event. That's how the matchmaking is going to work with the system. At any point, you can always update your settings either through this page or through your personal profile. Now, with the managed meetings, just two things to take note. If someone has sent you a meeting request, it would be under awaiting confirmation. You could view your one-to-one meetings at any point under confirmed. You could see the requests that you have sent out but have not been responded to under requested. You can nudge people along with here. You can send a reminder that you've requested a meeting with them. We default everyone to being available throughout the entire event, but at any point you can update your meeting availability through here to mark yourself unavailable or at the top of the page. When you build out your personal schedule through the agenda, you can also have the option to mark yourself unavailable when you add certain sessions to your personal schedule. Lastly, if you go to send meeting requests through here, now I've explained how it works with the individual requests that you would be sending out. This is more if you wanted to send out some bulk requests. So there's two options just to make note. You have one-to-one meetings where it's you sending an individual request, or you have group meetings. A group meeting would mean that anyone that you select, you are actually sending the invite to all of them. If you wanted to send out maybe 3 invites at once, you could select your people, hit the red request meeting now. It's going to review the 3 people that you selected. At any point, you could remove any of them. You can finalize your request, which is the same meeting logic that you've seen. The one thing to note for everyone is you can send out 5, 10, 15, 20 requests all for 9 a.m. on Monday. What's going to happen is the first person who accepts that time slot will be assigned that time, and you'll be assigned a meeting location. The next person who goes to accept it will simply be asked to pick another mutually available time since that's no longer available. Once they select the other time, that meeting will be booked because it's all based off availability. So there's no back and forth, so you can send out as many requests as you'd like, and the system will make them all play themselves out and build out your personal schedule. 2 other areas that people are using the Connect leading up to the event. Obviously, you want to go into the agenda. You want to see what's going on at the conference. You want to see who the speakers are, get descriptions, and you want to build out your personal schedule. You have search options at the top. They will be available within the mobile app as well. You could view a full agenda print view if you'd like, or if I just start to scroll down, you'll see different sessions. I could click into any one of these. I want to go to the biotech primer. I get the description. I could see where it's located. I can add this to my personal schedule. I can add it as a favorite, so I can easily, it's almost like lead sourcing your events and also your individuals. You can check in on the mobile app. And basically, as you build out your personal schedule, if I go back to the previous page, you'll see it built out on the right. You'll see that I have a confirmed meeting at 1 o'clock, but I'm interested in going to this leveraging non-dilutive funding event as well. I wanted to go to the reception. I also have a confirmed meeting on Wednesday. So Your personal schedule is going to include anything that you build out either through the agenda or the meetings. You can email this to yourself at any point. You can export this to a personal calendar. You could print it. So we give you all of those options. And you can also build your own personal schedule up at the top of the page or the mobile app, where you can filter by the meeting, by just your one-to-one meetings, or even instead of managing multiple calendars, you can add personal agenda items through MedTech Connect. Now, other areas on the left, I'm not going to go into them just to save more time for Chris to explain the higher points of how to best utilize a service, but you can view all the speakers of the event, view their bios, see the sessions they're speaking at. Definitely take a look at all of the sponsors for AdvaMed. You can link into their websites as well. If you wanted to view the exhibitors or the innovation showcase companies, it's the same view you've seen. It just defaults to the company view. We'll tell you their booth numbers. Again, you could see who's participating from these companies if you wanted to request meetings with them, or again, maybe you're just interested in the showcase companies. You could simply select on that and see where all the showcase companies are going to be located as well. Floor plan, you have an interactive floor plan, which I won't bother opening right now. That'll give you more information on the exhibitors, or you'll have the whole convention center layout that will allow you to navigate it as you're on site. Again, someone sent me an email, so you'll see the number 1 here for a message notifying me that I have a message. I could come in here, you'll see a new banner. I can expand this to see the message. Works like email. You could respond, you could forward to someone, you could delete. At the end of the day, there's an export option. So if you do a lot of critical communications within here, you can easily export that so you can import it into any sort of CRM system you might be using at your office. Lastly, on the left-hand side, you can connect with the different social media accounts for the events. During the conference, there'll probably be some surveys uploaded. We'll be able to view those surveys through here. Your notes section will allow you to, again, export all the different types of notes you might have taken throughout using the mobile app or the desktop. And lastly, you have your FAQs. So these are, typical questions that are going to be asked. What's the dress code? You just simply click on it. It's going to give you the answer. Nearest coffee shop, Wi-Fi, etc. That being said, trying not to go too deep on anything, that would be a good introduction of how the MedTech Connect platform could best be utilized leading up to the event. You definitely want to download the mobile apps prior to arriving, just so they're on your phone. You don't have to worry about it. The mobile apps are designed to work offline and also online, meaning once you download it, it will have the conference agenda offline. So if you have any Wi-Fi issues or if you're on the plane, you could still review it. And then you'll be able to log in with your networking credentials to, again, request meetings, what have you. Just as you see someone here 38 seconds ago posted a resume, just one of the ways that people are using the system. That being said, I'm going to segue this over to Chris Yoakum. That way he can use his years of experience with partnering and explain how he would best utilize services like ours.
Well, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. This is Chris Yoakum. I am thrilled at the participation numbers on today's webinar. This is really very impressive. I'm just going to spend the next few minutes trying to help you be as successful as possible at initiating new relationships and identifying potential partners for collaborations while you're at AdvaMed. I have a very long history of utilizing these systems, and I really have to compliment Dave and Jujima. They've made the system very easy to use, while at the same time offering you a number of options for managing what is invariably a complex schedule that each individual and each company has while they're participating in any one conference. Dave, rather than just show this slide on there, why don't you pull up my profile, my personal profile, because that's the first thing I want to talk about. It's really, Dave's got his profile on there. So we start at the very basic level. This attendance at any conference is about increasing your relationships with potential partners for the purpose of conducting business. And a lot of people overlook what is an important and fundamental piece of that process, and that is to humanize yourself. That is to put up a nice, friendly, casual photo. It could be a professional headshot. It might be more informal. But put up your profile and let people know who you are, what your areas of interest are, a little bit on your background. I think if you look through the system at any given time, not just for AdvaMed, but for other conferences that utilize partnering systems, there's a large number of people who fail to do this very important step. And really, this is I can't overemphasize, you need to try to make yourself stand out and be memorable. And one of the ways to do that is by not having a blank image where your photograph should be. So Dave, the second thing I want to talk about is how important your company profile is. So why not go ahead and go to Hoya, which is the company that I'm working with as a strategic advisor. And this is not about self-promotion. This is just a simple example of why it's so important to have a detailed profile. Caroline, who is hosting the event, and Caroline's over in Europe, so it's getting kind of late over there, I know. She and I have been talking with some of the bigger companies. And what we found is that many of the companies either don't put a profile on the system, or they put the wrong profile. A bigger company might put an investor relations profile on there, one that's meant more for analysts and things. This system is about business development, licensing, collaboration, strategic alliances. So we encourage everyone to make it very clear in their profile, whether you're a small company with one single platform technology, or whether you're a mid-sized company that's operating in a couple of different medical device areas, to be very specific about your strategic focus, what the opportunity is, and what you're looking for. So a large company might have 5 or 6 different therapeutic areas of interest. They might be focusing on medical devices for a variety of opportunities. And the system that Jujima has developed and that Dave's explained to you, the search function works off of keywords that are contained in your profile. So for that reason, it's really important that your company profile has all the areas of strategic interest and partnering that you're looking for to collaborate and to set up meetings while you're at AdvaMed. Okay, Dave, you can go back to the main slide now. So Dave also walked you through how the system allows you to coordinate your schedule, and I really like to stress that there's 2 important reasons right off the top for going to AdvaMed, and that is it's a very educational event with the world's experts on topics that are both challenging and offer opportunities in the medical device space. So it's really important for everyone to review the educational program and to select opportunities and sessions that they would like to attend and would like to participate in. But I always encourage everyone to leave as many spaces open in the partnering system as possible so that the system can match you up when you're looking to make a request. One of the final points I'll make is that be proactive in the system. One of the facts that we've learned from talking to some of the bigger companies is they get 50, 75, 100, some even 200 meeting requests. And so they focus mainly on responding to those meeting requests. If you're a small or mid-sized company and you're looking for innovative science or you're looking for a partner, it's very important to be proactive. Dave showed you how you can look at all the different organizations that are attending. There's a very simple search system where you can put in a keyword such as surgical instruments or diagnostic devices, and a list of things that are involved in that area, in that space, in that keyword, will pop up. You can quickly review their profile, and you can either send them a message, or you can request a meeting with them. So let me pause right there. I think I've given you a handful of tips that should facilitate your ability to schedule meetings while at AdvaMed, know who you're going to meet, and you're going to know the topic that you're going to discuss. And some of those might be 15-minute introductory meetings, and others, once you have a exchange information with them, you might decide that it's going to end up being a 30-minute meeting. I think I'd like to just close in saying that the goal of this, again, is especially if you're a small or mid-sized company, is to get on the radar of potential partners, to initiate a relationship and a dialogue. And hopefully sometime shortly after AdvaMed, you'll be signing a confidentiality agreement so that you can explore more detailed discussions, hear feedback from a potential collaborator on what you might need to do in order to progress a strategic alliance. And hopefully by the time we come around to AdvaMed 2017, you'll be talking about how great the system is, and it allowed you to find partners for some of your technologies. So thank you very much for your time. Our emails are listed there. I'm always happy to answer questions. If you've got technical questions, Dave is really amazing. He's almost always online, and he will help you with technical challenges as well. So I'll turn it back over to you, Caroline.
Thanks, Chris. Really appreciate all your help there, and especially with regard to kind of the meeting requests and the strategic value there. As you may have inferred from the presentation shown by Dave and the discussion points given to you by Chris, that there are hundreds of people using this system. You, as a meeting requester, are going to be evaluated by the person on the receiving end of your meeting request, just based on your profile. And so that's why all of these features are so important. They all interact with each other, and they really kind of drive your success at the AdvaMed conference. What you're looking at right now is just the MedTech Connect schedule during AdvaMed 2016. I won't read it out loud. It's just there for you as a resource. It's also listed online on the conference website. So we'll just move into a Q&A and into the last slide. Here are our contacting details, and I've also listed the websites for both the conference as well as AdvaMed itself. So I think we'll just go ahead and start with the Q&A. And Kim, have you received any questions via the chat feature?
No questions in the chat feature. There was one early on about recording of the session. This has been recorded, and we're also capable of providing the PowerPoint to anyone that would like. And I'll also just take a moment to tack on to your introduction of me, Caroline, early on for those who called in late. My name is Kim. If you're registered and have been using the system and had any questions submitted to Connect, you've probably heard from me. My email address is listed there. If you have general questions about the system, login problems, you've forgotten your password, you can send those to connect@MedTech Connect or at my email address, and I'd be happy to help you out.
Great. So at this stage, if anyone has questions that you'd like to pose verbally, you're welcome to unmute your line and go ahead and ask away. No?
So this is Chris. Let me just comment. Dave, you've been doing this for a long time. We're about 3 weeks out from the conference. Would you agree that this is about the time that things start to really heat up in the partnering system?
I would say 100% yes. I would say when you're roughly 3 to 4 weeks out from the event, people start getting a lot more active. The influx of meetings being requested and confirmed only multiplies, just getting closer and closer. 1 to 2 weeks out from the event, it's a fury rush of people booking meetings, setting up their appointments, and just doing their due diligence, getting ready for the event leading up to when they're on site. Just to add one thing before Chris goes on, someone did ask if you can double book a meeting time. I've seen that in the a private chat, and no, you cannot. Once a meeting is confirmed, your meeting availability will be marked unavailable for that time. So you can request multiple meetings for set time, again, 10 requests for 9 a.m. But once someone confirms that 9 a.m. time slot, that is the only meeting that can be booked for 9 a.m. And then anyone who accepts the requests that were also sent for 9 a.m. are asked to pick from a new mutually available time. So the system does prevent double bookings.
That's great, Dave. Yeah, so really now's a great time. Sit down with a cup of coffee in the morning or a glass of wine in the evening, edit your personal profile or your company profile, do some searches, and get some meeting requests out there, because it does take a day or two sometimes for people to respond. And keep in mind that the bigger companies, many of whom are attractive for meeting with, this is your chance to get 30 minutes of their time with the key licensing and business development person that otherwise you'd have a hard time just bumping into walking around the exhibit hall. So this is a chance to get an organized, scheduled meeting with someone who could have who could not only give you valuable advice about your technology, but might also be the person on the other end of a negotiation at some point in the future. And their schedules will start to fill up about a few days, a week out from the meeting. So you want to get those meeting requests to them this week and early next week.
Great. And I actually have one last kind of comment, and Chris, maybe you've had this experience before. Maybe this is one last tip, I suppose, but in terms of once you get on site and you've got your schedule already done, you've printed it out or downloaded it onto your mobile app and into your Outlook agenda, and you proceed to go to your partnering meetings, it might happen that you arrive at a partnering meeting and the other party who you're supposed to be meeting with is not there. And oftentimes from the conference organizer kind of experience, the conference organizer is asked or held responsible for something like that, when really it's actually up to the two parties who agreed to have this meeting. And so the tip that I'd like to give to you is that if you have a meeting scheduled and all of a sudden you find out you're not able to go, it's highly, highly advisable to get in touch with the person you're supposed to be meeting with via that system, because it is done in real time, to notify that person that you're unable to attend. Or if you're really unable to do that, then perhaps sometime afterwards, you can still use the system to send a message out just to say, apologies for missing our meeting. Maybe we can reschedule or catch up sometime after the conference. So I would suggest doing that. And Chris, I don't know if you've had experience with something like that and would want to comment further. But that is a common thing that seems to pop up from the organizer perspective.
Well, we know how busy these events are, and invariably things come up. I have found, especially with bigger companies, sometimes a senior executive might ask for a licensing person's time to meet or to join another meeting that conflicts with one that they have already scheduled. And oftentimes it's last minute and there's not enough time necessarily to notify the person. I encourage people to do two things. If a meeting is extremely important, it's one of your top meetings that you're going to have, I encourage you to try and get the mobile phone of the person, offer your mobile phone, and ask for their mobile phone. That way, if there's any on-site logistical challenge, there's nothing worse than sitting in one of these cubicles or sitting at an open table, and you're there and it's 2 or 3 minutes late after the hour. You have to remember that people sometimes have to walk across an exhibit floor. But it is a little disconcerting, especially if you're there with another important executive and you're waiting for someone to show up. Invariably, people can be a minute or two late. It's great if you've got their mobile number and you can call and say, hey, are you on your way? Or we're in such and such a booth, we're waiting for you, or such and such a table and waiting for you. So I'd encourage everybody to do that. My experience is, though, that most folks are pretty professional at these events. They take the system seriously, they take their schedules seriously, and most people show up pretty close to on time, and in fact, a history of very few missed meetings. There's always a couple, but this is why the system is so helpful, because it avoids double bookings. It allows you to manage your one-on-one meetings with and balance those with the educational program. And again, the only thing to take into account is sometimes the logistics of getting from one space to another. So that's a great point, Carolyn, and I'm sure for people who have done this before, they understand that. But I know there are people that are on the webinar that this might be their very first time to partner.
Great. Are there any other questions from the audience? All right, if not, then I think we can wrap up, and we really appreciate having such a good group and such a diverse group. Thank you very much for joining us. Please do take the time to go through the system, make sure your profile is up to date, inputted, both your personal as well as your company profile. And happy partnering to everyone, and we'll see you in Minneapolis. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Carolyn. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kim, for putting it all together.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.